So, class, to conclude today's lesson, I would like to ask you guys a puzzling problem that came in Casey's National STEM Exam 2022 edition, the physics entry particularly. I would like to indulge your intellect on the concept of what is the color of the sun? Anybody? Go ahead and think about it for a while. David?
Well, so that's an interesting thing to think about. I have just one concern though. So the concept of the color of the sun, is it in any way at all related to our advanced levels of physics? Because well, that's just what we're here to do.
That's an interesting question, David. There are so many more young Cameroonians who think exactly like you do. Unfortunately, Cameroon does not have as many innovative educators like we're trying to do here. But let me give you a quick story to illustrate the power of what we're doing here, the power of this question that zooms outside the realm of, outside the boundaries of your syllabus. Uh, let's say that you are an employer, okay? You have two employees come up to your office and they're looking for a job opportunity, maybe in your organization or in your company. And the first employee walks into your office and you go, well, as part of the interview, you want to find out, do you know the height of this building we are seated in? Because it turns out they are vying for an architectural design position in your company. And the first interviewee goes, well, I mastered all the heights of the buildings in the city because while I was in the university, I measured in architecture. And the height of this building we're seated in right now is about 150 feet. And it turns out the person is correct. Came up with the answer in just 0 seconds, right? The person walks out, the second interview walks in, and you ask them the same question. As part of your interview, can you please tell us what's the height of this building we're seated in? The second interview goes, well, sir, I do not know the height of the building we're seated in, but just give me 1 minute, I'll be back. He rushes outside, rushes to a nearby store, buys a tape, comes back, measures the length of the shadow of the building on the ground, measures the length of his own shadow on the ground, ratios his actual height to the length of the shadow on the ground, and then ratios the actual height of the building X, which is an unknown, to the length of the shadow of the building on the ground, cross multiplies and then comes up with a figure, rushes up back into your office, and then goes, sir, I think the height of this building is about 149 feet. Even though the second person was not as precise and exact in his answer like the first, who are you going to hire? Perfect. You would hire the second person because he demonstrated something more than just a syllabus mastery, a mastery of the syllabus of architecture or design. He did something more than that. And what was that? He learned to think of ways and use his mind in a way that has never been previously engaged to come up with solutions to problems that he has never previously encountered. That is what it means to be empowered as a young learner. And that's why we ask questions like that, so we can empower you to become better contributors to society. Is that okay, David? All right, class. Anybody wants to answer the question? Yes. Val?
So from the tremendous experience I've had from my childhood friend with the number of cartoons I've watched, and even now as we speak, if I look outside, the color of the sun is yellow. I think it should be yellow.
That's an interesting thought, Mr. Val. Thank you so much for your honesty and your cartoons. You must have watched so many cartoons, Mr. Val.
Trust me, sir, I've done lots.
That's nice. That's nice to hear. Well, that's an interesting thought, class. Can we keep having responses? Yes, Sir Louise.
Okay, so thank you very much for that question. And just sitting down here, just wondering. And again, I ask myself, like, is it really necessary for us humans to attribute a particular color for the sun? For instance, if we want to really attribute the color for the sun, it means the other tertiary body, like we have the stars, the moon, then we should, as humans, attribute colors to them. So for that particular thought, and since again the sun is in space, I just feel like it should be colorless.
So everything in space is colorless.
Yes, sir.
So when we paint space shuttles on Earth and we fire them maybe to low Earth orbit in space, they become colorless when they get to space.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh,
Yes, sir.
so you paint them colorless after painting them maybe yellow here. And when they get to space, you paint them colorless.
Again, say, we paint them on Earth. So when they get to space, the color we give on Earth, that is the color we are going to see in space.
All right, thank you so much, Eddie. Of that, one of your classmates had to argue about that things in space have no color; they just automatically lose their colors. Is there another person who has maybe like an interesting thought to the question of what is the color of the sun? Yes, Anne.
Thank you very much, sir, for asking that pertinent question. Well, as the others have been talking, I've been thinking, well, we have photons which originate from the sun, right? And these photons interact with water droplets to give rise to the rainbow. And the rainbow has 7 different colors, which you know them: red, orange, yellow, blue, indigo, violet. I don't really need to explain that, but and these colors, the combination of these colors actually gives us white. And I'm thinking, it's just a thought, if these photons interact with water droplets to give us this combination of colors, which is actually white, then I think the sun should be white. That's just a thought.
Interesting. Interesting, class. Thank you so much, Anne. That's a good thought. I love it. Any more thoughts?
So I said, thank you very much for such an amazing question. So since the question was thrown to the class, I've been pondering on it. And my 2 decades here on Earth, I've actually discovered that the color of the sun is not static, it varies. So when the sun rises, I think the color of the sun is something reddish. Then at noon, I cannot really predict the color of the sun. Then when the sun sets, I think something yellowish, ample green, something like that. So based on my observation, the color of the sun is not static, it actually varies.
That's an interesting thought. It's an interesting thought. I love when you just allow your intellectual faculties to blossom to the ignorance of a new problem like this. Just ponder the breadth, depth, and truth of this problem. All right, is there any more thoughts? Yes, Chidera.
So, thinking about the question, I think I just had a moment of epiphany. And I don't know, for some reason, I saw myself in a room. And I'm thinking, if I'm in a room and I have a white source of light from the bulb, obviously, and I take a white piece of paper and I put it under immense white. If I change the color to maybe blue and I put that white piece of paper under, it changes to blue. If I do the same, I change it to yellow, that white piece of paper changes to yellow. And I'm thinking that if we can sit and we're able to view objects still white here, that can only mean that the source of light that we have can only just be white still. Because if it had to be some other color, for example, blue or yellow, then everything that we see white here should not be seen as white. I don't know.
Interesting, Chidera. I love. Now, class, thank you so much for interacting with this problem. You see, this is the whole point of education. Education should be able to empower you. Education should allow you to become a problem solver in the community. Use what you've learned to contribute to new frontiers of understanding the world around you. And I just asked a very basic question of what is color of the sun, and we had 2 brilliant answers. And every other person was talking about their everyday experiences. Anime directors and film directors got the color of the sun wrong. If you watch a lot of animes, you notice that it's yellow. And we have Casey, Ann, and Theodora having given 2 brilliant answers. Now, let me just comment on those answers, all right, class?
Yes, sir.
If, from what Theodora said, if the color of the sun was actually yellow, did you know that snow would be yellow?
Yeah. Okay.
But the very fact that snow is white indicates that the source of light that is illuminating the earth, it's not even possible to be yellow. It must be white. All right? So this is another way to think about the problem. They said epiphanies. No syllabus will teach you how to think about these problems. All right? Syllabus will teach you what to know. But when you move from what to know and you get to the place, the empowered state of how to think, not just how to or what to know. You now know how to think. that empowers you to become a vital youth in the 21st century economy where creativity and innovation are the watchword. Thank you so much for the class. See you next week. Take care.
Thank you.